Imagine this: wild, tattooed warriors with long swords, whose battle cries made even mighty Rome tremble. Their culture was so incredible that, honestly, I was stunned when I dug deeper. Who were the Celts? Where did they come from? And why are traces of them found in places no one expected, from Turkey to Ukraine? Today, we're going to uncover all the secrets of this mysterious people, and trust me, you'll be shocked by what you learn. Let's dive in. The mysterious origins of the Celts. The Celts were not just bearded warriors in bronze armor like the movies show us. They were a people who literally turned Europe upside down. Scholars still argue, but most agree, the Celts came from the depths of the Volga steppes, where around 4,000 years ago their ancestors, the Indo-Europeans, lived. These were nomadic tribes who swept across the continent like a storm, leaving behind cities, technology, and chaos. Their journey began somewhere in what is now Russia, and believe it or not, they were the first to move westward, conquering lands we now call Europe. These Proto-Celts moved alongside other Indo-European groups, the Proto-Italics and Proto-Vents. They burst into Central Europe, Hungary, Austria, Switzerland, and either destroyed the locals or merged with them. And here's where it gets intriguing: the Celts didn't just conquer, they blended into local cultures like sugar and tea. This made them unique, but perhaps it was also their weakness. Why? We'll get to that soon, don't go anywhere. By the 5th century BCE, as Herodotus, the father of history, wrote, the Celts already ruled from the Atlantic Ocean to the Danube. That's a massive area. Paris, Milan, Budapest, Turin, all these cities were founded by Celts. Their culture, known to archaeologists as Hallstatt and later Tène, was so advanced that they were the first in Europe to mine salt and smelt iron. Can you imagine? They literally kicked off the Iron Age, throwing bronze onto the scrap heap of history. Celts, geniuses and warriors, but the Celts weren't just about swords and battles. Their technical genius was mind-blowing. German historian Helmut Bierkahn wrote that the Celts invented the carpenter's workbench, a tool no craftsman can live without even today. And their salt mines? These were massive industrial complexes. They extracted salt, which at the time was worth more than gold. But most importantly, the Celts were the first in Europe to make steel. Steel, my friends. That's like inventing the smartphone in ancient times. Now imagine their warriors, tall, muscular, with thick mustaches, covered in tattoos, wearing armor that looked like artwork. They charged on chariots, swinging long swords, and their battle cry made enemies flee in panic. But here's the paradox: the Celts were incredibly brave but completely undisciplined. Their tactic? Rush in like a hurricane, crush the enemy with fury, and that's it. If the enemy survived the first strike, the Celts often panicked and retreated. This was their Achilles heel when they finally clashed with Rome. But more on that in a moment. The Celtic elite rode around in chariots like ancient supercars. In Britain, they even used them in battle until the forests forced them to switch to horses. And their women? Oh, that's a whole story. Roman authors wrote that Celtic women were true fashionistas, tight belts accentuating their waists, amber necklaces, gold bracelets that jingled with every step. They shaved their eyebrows, built towering hairstyles with lime water, and wore bright, almost Eastern-style clothing. The men weren't far behind: golden neck rings, mustaches an absolute must, and women even wore ankle bracelets that they put on in childhood and wore for life. Subscribe and stay curious. If you're already intrigued, give a like and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more shocking information about the Celts coming up, and I promise you won't want to miss the ending. Watch until the end to find out how the Celts nearly destroyed Rome and why their culture vanished, leaving traces even in Russia. The Celts vs. Rome. Back to the Celts. Their warlike nature was legendary. They conquered almost all of Europe, France, Belgium, where they mixed with Germanic tribes and became the Belgae, Spain, where they merged with the Basques and became the Celtiberians. But their biggest mistake? Challenging Rome. In 390 BCE, the Celts, led by the chieftain Brennus, stormed into Rome and sacked it. The city that would become the center of the world was trampled by wild, tattooed warriors. The Romans trembled, and the Celts left with bags of gold. But Rome learned from its mistakes. By the 1st century BCE, Julius Caesar, cunning as a fox, set out to conquer Gaul, the heart of the Celtic world. And that's when it all began. Caesar didn't just fight, he played Celtic tribes against each other. While the Gauls quarreled, he seized their lands. The last hero of the Celts, Vercingetorix, tried to unite the tribes and fight back, but it was too late. At the Battle of Alesia in 52 BCE, the Celts suffered a crushing defeat. Gaul fell, and the Celts began to dissolve into Roman culture. The secrets of Celtic culture and their laws, but let's take a closer look at their world. Celtic cities were full of life, acrobats and strong men entertained the crowds, merchants sold amber and gold, and druids, priests and sages, performed mysterious rituals. And here's where it gets shocking. The Celts practiced human sacrifices. Huge woven figures were stuffed with people and burned in honor of the gods. Brutal? Yes. But it was part of their belief system, where nature and spirits played a massive role. Celtic laws are surprising too. Women had more rights than in Rome. They could divorce, reclaim their dowry, and even own land. But the Celts were hot-tempered. Imagine this: 2 warriors could start a bloody fight over who got the best piece of meat at a feast. Honor was everything to them. And here's another surprise: homosexual relationships during military campaigns were considered normal. It may seem strange to us, but for the Celts, it was a part of warrior brotherhood. The disappearance of the Celts and their legacy. So why did the Celts disappear? The answer is simple and tragic: Rome. After Caesar's conquests, the Celts began to undergo Romanization. Being a Gaul became unfashionable. They adopted the Latin language, Roman customs, and fashion. Within a couple of generations, the Celts were dissolving into the empire like smoke. Some of them fled east, and here comes another mystery. Celts were found in Greece, where they sacked Delphi, in Turkey, where they became the Galatians, and even in Ukraine and Belarus. River names like Niemen, Devinar, and Desna all have Celtic roots. And the Bastarnae tribe, a Celtic-Germanic alliance, moved beyond the Dnipro and became part of the emerging Slavic world. How about that? But the Celts didn't vanish completely. Their genetic signature, haplogroup R1b, still dominates Western Europe. Ireland, Wales, and Scotland still preserve the Celtic spirit. Their language, though it evolved, influenced modern European languages. And their cities: Paris, Milan, Budapest, all part of the Celtic legacy. The Celts were a people who changed Europe, gave us iron, cities, and an incredible culture, but fell under the pressure of Rome and their own passion for blending with others. Their story is a mix of triumph, tragedy, and mystery. Want more stories like this? Hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what shocked you the most. And I promise, in the next video, we'll uncover another ancient mystery. See you soon.